Yeah, I think you're spot on that it will end, but with the shambles that has been the government lately, it's going to take a while, isn't it? Hi, it's me again, and yet another ex-BBC person is speaking out about the TV licence fee. This time it's Jenny Bond. She was on LBC talking to someone on there. I think it might have been Jeremy Kyle, you know. Have a look at this with me. BBC's ex-correspondent Bond slams corporation's TV licence in dire warning. It will end. Not going too sensationalist with the headlines there at the Express, obviously. But it's a fair point. The TV licence fee will end. It's just, what are they going to replace it with that's the big issue, isn't it? We all know it's coming to an end. It's just, where do they go from here? They want it on general taxation. They want like a media tax on your broadband or something on your pay slip to cover it. Me, I just can't see. I fail to understand why they can't go commercial like every other telly channel does. But let's see what Bond's got to say about it, shall we? Jenny Bond forecasts the TV licence fee will end and an advertisement-based model will instead be adopted to fund BBC programming. The former Raw correspondent insisted the corporation needs to move on with the times and seek alternative ways of attracting a younger audience amid the competition from streaming platforms. Miss Bond, however, suggested taking on advertisements will leave other broadcasters upset because of growing competition. Well, me and Miss Jenny Bond seem to be on the same page here, don't we? Advertising is how it's got to be funded going forward until the world is ready for every TV platform to be subscription-based streaming. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, but we are ready for adverts. And so many people still don't know that the BBC completely own UK TV, Dave Gold and all that, showing BBC shows that were long since paid for, long ago by TV licence fees, showing ads all over it. And do you remember when Dave started up and Top Gear was on there constantly? It was just rolling Top Gear channel, wasn't it? They were sponsored, not just ads in there, it was actually sponsored by Halfords. The BBC aren't scared of showing ads. The problem is they get 3.7 billion quid a year from TV licence fees, and ITV turns over about 1.4 billion a year from its commercial activities. So they are going to take a hit. But BBC Studios is completely commercial and they turn over $1 billion already. They're in the game. They're in the game. They're ready to do it. They're just putting it off. Putting it off as long as possible. And you can't blame them. 3.7 billion quid's a lot of money, right? You know, if that was your business, you'd put it off as long as possible as well, wouldn't you? But the time is coming, BBC. It's not going to be long. But it does need to move with the times. Things are changing. It's losing popularity with young people. And it has to think of a new way of funding itself. The licence fee will probably end. I'll be very sorry to see advertising throughout the BBC, but I do think that, actually, the jingles that you hear, there is room for advertising on some of these stations. Yeah, I think there's room for advertising. And what did she say on the last bit? She said other broadcasters would be upset because of growing competition. I disagree. I think there's more than enough advertising revenue to go around. Most companies that do television advertising work on multiple channels at the same time to make sure their ads are shown. And if there is more competition in the market, it's better for me and you, because more competition breeds a better product. They're incentivized to make better stuff to get their share of the ad revenue. And other channels who might lose advertisers to the BBC are then incentivized to make even better stuff to try and win back the advertising. We are the people that win. All right, you're going to have ad breaks on BBC stuff, but let's face it, right? In between the shows on the BBC, it doesn't just go from show to show to show to show, does it? In between the shows, there's 3, 4, 5 minute gaps where they show idents and, you know, they run trailers for other BBC stuff. There's already ad breaks in there. It's not going to be any different to chuck in some proper advertising, is there? And the BBC can then do product placement. You know, Coronation Street makes a lot of money from product placement. BBC could do that. They could do it. See, normally when we hear from these ex-BBC people that are probably still going to claim their pension or whatever, they're saying, it's not ideal, but we've got to save the BBC and it's the best way of doing it. Jenny's come straight out and said advertising is the way forward. We're on the same page, aren't we, me and Jenny? We're not ready to go full streaming yet. There's got to be an interim measure where we get rid of the licence fee, and that has to be advertising. But I say that the Royal Charter expires in 2027, and it's down to the government to come up with ideas and decide what's going to happen before 2027. And I said it loads of times before, the person that gets in the job as Media and Culture Secretary, would need to stay in there until 2027 to secure their decision. What's going on with the government? We've got no chance. Give it another couple of years and then the BBC can say, we don't have enough time to implement anything new before 2027, and they'll get another 10-year extension on their licence fee charter. That's what's going to happen. The licence fee is going to stay for at least 10 more years. At least, well, from 2027, at least 10 more years. But it's not the end of the world, is it? Because at the minute, we can opt out. If they did change it to a media tax or stick it on your payslip or whatever, or on your council tax, how are you going to opt out of that? How are you going to opt out of that? So the way we've got it isn't the worst way of doing it to me, but the future for the BBC, it's got to be advertising, right? But let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, I'll see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da.